Next week, the San Diego City Council will begin a series of hearings on Mayor Todd Gloria's city budget proposal. There are cuts, he says, that will impact every San Diegan as City Hall manages a severe budget deficit. Mayor Gloria, kind enough to join us now live to talk about what's at stake. Appreciate you making time for us today. Right into it, the city of San Diego is facing a massive budget deficit in its discretionary fund, $250 million. How did we get here?
Sure. Like every other American city. I mean, when I talk to my colleagues in Los Angeles and San Francisco, Fresno, everyone's dealing with rising costs with lower revenues. Very similar to what every one of your viewers are dealing with. Higher gas prices for you or I maybe affects the 1 or 2 cars that we own. For the city, we have 4,700 vehicles. Higher SDG&E bills, that may be for your home. We have over 1,000 buildings, many of them run 24/7. So higher costs with our sales tax and our franchise fees, which are number 2 and number 4 for revenue sources, actually down and the others being flat. That's how you end up in this position.
So basically, the inflation that has hurt businesses and individuals over the last few years, it's coming home to roost for the city in some ways.
Exactly right.
So where do we go from here? Like, what's at stake? What's on the chopping block?
Well, I think what I find when I talk to San Diegans about this is they need to understand that unlike the federal government, we are not permitted to run a deficit. We must balance our books every single year, no exceptions. And this is why the cuts become necessary. If you're going to close a $258 million budget deficit, which for your viewers is roughly 12% of our general fund, that's a significant reduction. We are trying to find new revenues wherever we can, full cost recovery for the services we provide, doing things like increasing taxes on tourists and on cannabis users. But at the end of the day, there's still a gap, about $112 million that we need to fill. And that's where you see reductions in key neighborhood services that we all care about, like libraries and rec centers. But what you see me doing is maintaining the priorities for keeping us safe, making sure our police and fire and lifeguards are well funded, paving roads. This budget has 390 miles of road repair in the next fiscal year, despite our challenges, and continuing to make progress on housing and homelessness. I think those are the priorities San Diegans have, and that is reflected in this proposal.
Just want to quickly touch on the public safety aspect, the possibility of shutting down a police substation in Carmel Valley. The budget has $20 million more for police, correct?
29 million.
29 million more for police. With a raise in that, why are they still shutting down a station potentially?
Because they have the same inflationary pressures the rest of the general fund has. They have a lot of vehicles, they run on gas, they have a lot of facilities, they have a lot of staff, and we are in a competitive environment where our officers need to stay with the department, and so we provided pay raises to keep them with us, and that's helping. That's helping stem the flow of officers leaving. We also have our full academies so that we're going to continue to recruit. I want to be clear, though, because I don't think we've done ourselves any service in the way this was rolled out. This is not closing the division. You will still see officers operating out of that location. We'll still have a storefront there. We will still have a crime lab there. What we're doing, though, is combining 2 divisions together, Northwestern, Northeastern. Northwestern has about 1,000 calls a month. Northeastern has about 2,000 calls a month. When you combine them together, that's 3,000, which is roughly what Northern Division has, and is far less than downtown, which is about 8,000 to 10,000 calls a month. So you get a sense of the call volume, the differences, and how we can do this. What it does is reduce overhead. So it's not reducing patrol officers. It's not reducing our ability to respond to calls. What it does is take the overhead off, allow us to make the reduction, but keep officers in the field.
Very detailed response. So this is something that obviously is not a knee-jerk reaction.
No, this was the recommendation of our police chief, who I trust and who is doing a fantastic job. He's in a tough spot. This $7 million reduction to the police department is about 1% of their overall budget, and that's in contrast with other departments that have much more significant reductions. Again, prioritizing public safety, because at a minimum, we have to make sure that people are safe. This budget will do that.
You mentioned building new revenues. One way was been discussed and pitched was raising parking meter fees, parking fees around the city. Grand jury had a new report today saying, well, we need to remind you, you're not allowed to use that money for anything other than transportation issues. Yeah. What are the challenges with that? Is that something you expected? Do you know that?
Oh, absolutely. I'm well aware of the law. But what I think the grand jury and your viewers need to also are probably well aware of is the fact that where we have parking meters, we have a lot of potholes, we have a lot of busted streetlights, we have a lot of things that new additional revenue can go to fix. Absent the additional revenue, we may not be able to fix those, and that wouldn't be great. The grand jury report just came out, took a look at it. Here's the interesting thing, Carlos. I have a full comprehensive parking reform package going to the city council next month. Okay. So we are well aware of these shortcomings. We're taking aggressive action to fix them. That's generally been reported about things like Sunday hours and extended and dynamic pricing, but it's a whole host of comprehensive reforms to make our parking system work better. Fun fact, last week we had 1,400 complaints through the Get It Done app about parking. That is literally double the number of complaints that we received about homeless encampments. That tells you how much our city is crying out for parking reforms, and my administration is advancing the first of its kind in probably 20 plus years to do so.
So you're hoping to solve a problem while also potentially generating some more revenue.
You require your mayor to multitask, and I'm trying to deliver.
All right, last thing, County Board of Supervisors, we only have about 30 seconds left. District 1 elections coming up. You have a Republican, John McCann. You have Paloma Carey, a Democrat. What is your view on this race? What are you hoping to come out of it?
Well, they're both great candidates in the sense that they're both mayors, and I work with both of them. I'm personally supporting Paloma Aguirre to be our next supervisor. Here's what we need from the county. We need the county to get in the game on mental health. Homelessness is often a subject of mental health and substance use issues. Those are the responsibilities of the county. And Carla, with all due respect to my county partners, they are not doing enough. In many cases, they're MIA on this issue. We need the next supervisor to go down there and make sure they step up their game when it comes to dealing with people who are suffering with addiction and severe mental illness.
All right, Mayor Todd, Gloria, thank you for making time for us. Appreciate you coming in. Have you in again soon too. We got to talk ADUs a little bit more.
Let's do it.
A lot of other things.
Yeah.
But we appreciate having you here. For now, I'm going to send it back to Marcella and Carlene.